Hey, what's up? What's up? We could have done it whenever, but 7:30 is 7:30 on this end. What? It's the same one. I just. I said the one in the chat and the one in here is the same. So and Campbell is already in. So see, can he try it again? Whatever. So we'll see. All right. I know you be all right. Hey, what's up, everybody? You're tuned in to the HBCU Coaches Corner. I am the trusty co-host, Rocky, and we have our contributor, our number one contributor, Bishop Campbell, here, and we're waiting on Coach to arrive. But in the meantime, until Coach gets here, there's so much going on in football right now, Coach Bishop Campbell. There's so much going on, and I must admit, there's also so much misinformation out there, right? But before we get into straightening everything out, first I want to welcome everybody to the show. Please like and subscribe to the channel. If in fact you are watching on off script, mosey on over at some point to Rocky Miller and also subscribe there as well. So again, I want to make sure that you guys have an opportunity to subscribe because not all of our content will appear on off script. But if you happen to see some of the other content we have that is not featured on off script, I want you to be able to have access to that as well and be notified when we go live. So I definitely want to make sure that you continue to like and subscribe. All right, Bishop Campbell, there's so much going on in college sports, college football in particular, with the transfer portal opening up. There's been a lot of conversation about what's going on in Colorado. You know, Prime has that way of making news and causing a ruckus all over the landscape of college football and sports in general. And there was a situation came up that Scotty pinpointed on one of his shows, and I think you have the expertise to kind of straighten things out about that. And so, for the lack of a better, I'll step aside while Bishop Campbell gives us kind of like a NIL 101, right? And I'll step back and let you do your thing so you can explain what's going on with NIL and how it impacts a player's, the transfer portal and all those things. Go ahead, Bishop Campbell.
Well, I think what we want to do, we're going to do a tease. We're going to give him a little bit because, of course, we want to hear Coach Cole's opinion on it. But you've heard a lot, and again, about Johnnie McClain and other athletes and them getting in the portal and them getting paid. That's what we hear. They got paid, and now they're leaving. And I think what I've seen a lot of comments is that, oh, he got paid. He should have just, and he's not doing this or whatever. He's not doing what he's supposed to do. And I'll get in more depth. I'm just talking about overall right now. But I want people to understand these kids, and this is by law, they're not there to pay for play. Any deal that they have is a strict marketing deal. So if a kid doesn't go to class, if a kid doesn't perform on the field, has nothing to do with his NIL deal, because his NIL deal is name, image, and likeness. And in most states, has nothing to do with the school. It is set up by an outside collective or a private individual that does the contract directly with the athlete. So when I hear people saying that, oh, Johnnie McClain, I'll now use his name, didn't earn his money, well, maybe he did. Because his NIL deal should be for, and I'll kind of just list it on a couple of things, should be in an ad campaign, ads on his social media, selling merchandise, being in camps, partnering in a business, memorabilia. These are the paid appearances.
Yeah,
paid appearances. So these are the things that they get paid to do. Did you hear anywhere where it said that he catches a touchdown or interception, a ball, that he gets paid for that? Or if he's all conference or all American? No, you didn't. And this is what people need to understand. And this is what is very interesting how this plays out. Because you have one force over here saying, you didn't earn your money, right? But the NCAA has given these kids a nice little escape ramp to say, you know what? If you want to pay them, understand what you're paying them for. And it has nothing to do with their ability on the field. It has all to do with marketing whatever contract that they're in. So I think what we want to talk about really is what this means, who are the people that set it up. And those are things I kind of want to kind of delve into, tonight, especially because I want to ask Coach Cole, from a coach's standpoint, what does he think about this and things like that. But yeah, the NIL, I think, is just the most misunderstood thing in the college game right now.
Well, let me ask you this. This is just as we bring Coach Cole on, I want to make sure that we acknowledge the star of the show, the reason why we're all here, and that's none other than the swag legend himself, Johnnie Cole. Coach Cole, how you doing?
What's going on, man? How y'all guys doing, man? Shoot, I tell you what, living out here on the Pacific Coast, man, you guys are way ahead of me. When you sleeping, I'm just now getting up. So I gotta keep up with all this Mountain Time, Pacific Time, Central Time, Eastern Time. So we got a special guest on. I think we got him straight now, but I'm excited to be here and ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, Coach. While we were waiting on you to come on, Bishop Campbell was, because he has a extensive history and experience dealing with contracts and being a sports agent himself. He wanted to clear some misnomers up about NIL, and basically you can go ahead and repeat kind of concisely what you said about NIL, and then we'll go ahead to Coach Keith.
Yeah, well, Coach, and like I said, I would love to have this conversation. We have a misunderstanding where people think NIL is pay for play, and it's not. It has nothing to do with anything they do on the football field. And we are hearing a lot of fans who are getting upset with players because maybe they didn't produce. Now they're in the portal, and they're saying, we paid this guy $25,000 and he didn't produce. No, you didn't pay him $25,000 for that. And I think what we should need to do is give people the information, because when you hear this is where a lot of these kids are getting vitriol from, because they're saying, hey, they paid this guy $250,000 to play at Colorado, to play at Mississippi State, to play at Alabama. No, they didn't. And I think that's what a lot of confusion causes with these players, because what they pay these kids are to market some product. Now, even though we never see the product, but the contract that they're signing is for some product or for something that they needed to do as an appearance or something like that. It has nothing to do with football. So I kind of want to just talk about that and, set the record straight, because, that's what we do over here on the Coach's Corner.
Well, of course, it has something to do with football because they're football players, that exactly, But the collective is with the university, but the NIL is with different companies. And then, as you say, I'm giving you this money because I think that this is what you're going to do, A, B, C. None of that's guaranteed, you know what I mean? And that has nothing to do with basically the university, besides that you're on the team, unless the university is trying to take your jersey and sell it, your name, but that, man, you only got a few of those players. Now, when you see all these guys jumping in the portal to go get some money, that's from the collective. That's from the university saying, okay, hey, you this, you that, all right, you worth this. This is what we're going to give you to come over here and play, to transfer and play. As far as the fan base is concerned, it has nothing to do with the kids' performance.
Let me ask Bishop Campbell something, because this is something we actually there's a collective in our office building that runs Baylor's collective, right? And one of the things they repeatedly say over and over again when we talk to them and talk to Coach, we are not connected to the school or the football program.
That is 100% fact.
They say that like 3 or 4 times in every conversation that I've ever had with them. So I just wanted to, you know, make sure that
let's clear that up. Right. That school has nothing to do with the collective. And matter of fact, and again, I pulled this up because this is one of the things that actually happened to FSU, because FSU had a kid that they were trying to get, and the coach picked the kid up and took him to the booster. And the booster offered him, now mind you, you cannot offer an NIL deal until the kid signs with the school. Okay? The outside collective, not the school. The school has nothing to do with it, not the coaches, not anybody. And the boosters cannot do this. Okay? This has to be a separate entity. Well, what happened was, which we all know how, like I said, we're not stupid. We understand, but I'm just talking about how you get in trouble. The coach picked the kid up, took him to the booster's house, and the booster said, we'll give you $15,000 if you come to Florida State. We'll give you $15,000 if you come to Florida State.
Wow. Hey, Coach,
so,
we're going to finish this conversation. But we have we're excited to bring on a very special guest, our featured guest today, Coach. I didn't even give him a teaser this time, Coach Cole. I told him I let him jump all on, and you're going to surprise him once again. You're going to do it like you always do. Bring one of your friends, one of your colleagues on as a guest on the show. Give them share our platform with them and allow them to promote and share their vision for their program. And this guy was very successful at Allen University, which is in South Carolina. He has moved to the big city of Atlanta, Georgia. I'd like to welcome Coach Keaton, the head coach of Clark Atlanta University, head football coach. Thank you for joining us, Coach Keaton.
Man, my pleasure. The pleasure is all mine.
Man, well, I need to ask something, because you seen Murray last night with the Denver Nuggets. He one of the underrated players in the league. You're looking at one of the underrated or not rated enough, one of the HBCU coaches. He's a stand-up guy. He talks the talk and he walks the walk, and he looks after for his own, man. I just want to say that. And Coach is a straight-laced guy, man. Hey, we've just talked on the phone, Rocky, and I know that he's a winner. He's won everywhere he's been. He turned around Allen College, and we'll talk about that tonight. That they hadn't had a winning season in years and years and years. We talking about a school who got 700 people that beat everybody in SIAC just about. So
wow.
We ain't gonna downplay this introduction, Coach. And I just want to say, man, you special. I appreciate you taking time out, because it's 8:30 out there, and shoot, it's 5:30 here, or a little bit past. So I want to thank you, man. And I want to jump right in it, and I want to come on. Hey, Rocky, man, how did you turn Allen? What is it? College, university? When you got there, they ain't even have uniforms. Suits, they ain't have a football field. He drugging from the dirt, Rock.
Well, I think it's a collective. First of all, thank y'all for the introductory. I grew up watching Johnnie Cole, LC Cole, the Cole brothers, my guy at Pete Richardson. I used to go to the SWAC when I first, found out about the Cole brothers. I was a student in high school when we used to go to the Turkey Day Classic and in the Magic City Classic, and I fell in love with some guys who had that swag. I'm one of those people that a lot of people hate Dion because Dion has been Dion for all his life, but the Cole brothers were very present and had a presence in Black college football that was undeniable, the best. And Johnnie Cole, you talking to the legend. They call him Ball Game. Ball Game was the guy who really inspired me to be an offensive coach. I mean, he didn't know how much I admired him and his brother and what they did. And when he talk about being straight, I talk about what other people did in this game or what they may have been accused of, and they still get jobs. And you talk about you took two of the most legendary coaches out the game. Well, one of them I was able to get back in the game, so that's how I was able to turn Allen University around. LC Cole is arguably one of the best defensive coordinators out there, even better man. You know, you can't believe what people say and what other people talk about. We talking about a stand-up guy who's old enough to be my father, but he's a guy that's came on my staff and been nothing but straight up, straight guy. He helps me with decisions, and I've always prided myself about being around people. I don't hire people just because I like them. I hire them because they can add value or they can create value for whatever I'm trying to do or what I'm trying to build. And I think as Black men, we have to do a better job of respecting the people who laid the way for us and did things that were, not necessarily they didn't get the publicity that we're able to get. They didn't have platforms to get on that y'all have created now that gives us the opportunity to be on and sell our programs and do those type things. But in this world of the internet now you got a chance and an opportunity to be able to go out to players and find a place like Allen University was unknown. I didn't even know Allen University existed. I didn't been to Columbia, South Carolina on a numerous occasion. A well-known fact, my cousin Marvin Orange, he was Mr. Basketball of South Carolina in 1992. So when I went over to South Carolina, we used to be in Orangeburg and all those places to watch him play at Irmo High School, and I never knew that Allen existed. And then I finally got a chance to go over and see it, and it was a shopping center. I have a tremendous amount of respect for the work, the body of work that the bishop and everybody had done at that college and the way that it stands for. It'll always have a special place in my heart, but it's a place that I felt that if you went there, we had no practice field, we had no locker room, we had no weight room, we had no place to play, we had no balls, we had no resemblance of football ever being there. So when I just hit the groundwork, and I was by myself from January to early July until a guy named Tommy Brown joined me on my staff. But in June, I had recruited 65 players to play football and in school, in college for the summer school, so we could play in August. And I did that all by myself. And then every year we won 2 the first year, 3 the second year, 4 the third year. Then we turned around and we lost because we kind of was trying to change defenses and doing things. And so we went 2-7. And then the very next year we went 7-3. And now I'm the head football coach at Clark Atlanta University.
Hey, Coach, I want to clarify something because I don't think people really understand the heavy lift. I actually sponsored Allen University a couple of years ago. Allen didn't have a football team, period.
That's right.
Period. I want to be clear. Now he's saying, see, people when you say we repeat, no. When he's saying that they did not, because when I came up, as a matter of fact, I must have came up there the year before because it was their homecoming. Because Allen had an amazing basketball team. They're really a great basketball school, and I think maybe the early '70s was the last time they had a football team or something around that time. And they said they were bringing football back. So I want people to understand that Allen, for 25, 30 years, did not have a football team. So I want to really give your flowers to what you really did. Not that the team was bad and you came in. No, there was no football team. I want to be clear on that.
Well, I don't like to talk too bad about Allen because, like I said, it carries a special weight in my heart because of the people I met there. Have you ever been in South Carolina? Some of them live very rural. It's some very poor areas in South Carolina. Some of them, they don't even have Wi-Fi in certain areas of parts of South Carolina. So I just got to experience something, and I didn't look at it as a work. I almost looked at it as a ministry. I got an opportunity to touch something that will change my life forever and a day. And the amount of people that we had working there, we only had 3 full-time coaches. And when we were at it, most of the people were not guys that coach high school football. These guys were just regular, normal guys who basically they just played the game at the college level and really wasn't that, that never been taught how to coach. So you basically coaching the coaches, teaching the players, and trying to get them on the same page and showing them how to run an organization, how it should be done. And a lot of them only seen what they had learned from their college coaches or their high school coaches, and just doing the day-to-day managing of a football program and making sure they graduate from school. And I'm very proud to say that I'm 75 that we bought there. In 2018, we had over 65% of those kids to graduate from college, and they came from the greater city, the greater Atlanta area, from places that most people wouldn't come. So everybody that was there was called Last Chance U, basically. They had no opportunities, no NIL deals, no nothing. And for us to coach them up and put them in a position to make them believe, and just to manage that group of people without a staff was almost like, it was crazy. But I've been a part of turnarounds. I've been a part of startup programs. In 1999, I was with Theophilus Danzy. He's well known for Alcorn State. He was the defensive coordinator that was real good there. And he was at Perry View, Arkansas Pine Bluff. He's been somewhere everywhere, but he started Stillman program. And that's where I cut my teeth with a guy who taught me how to build a program from the ground up. So I got a tremendous amount of respect for Dennis Connors, Melvin Pete, who was the quarterback at Jackson State, and those guys, and Coach Pete Sr., who's dead, God rest his soul. Those were guys that helped us along the way. Big Daddy Hughes, we went over and we clinic with these guys to learn how to coach. So I kind of got an eye opener to what it was. And then by the time I was assistant coach, I remember driving to meet Johnnie or LC, one of the two. I think it was LC, but I used to drive Coach Danzy around. And I took him in, and we met them, and they was coaching Lane College at the time, and we had to take the VCR tapes, and you turn them in, and you didn't. I started taking notices. They had Lane College with Jacoby and a running back that I don't even know the running back name, but that guy was big and he ran the ball forever. But we've done. I've been around. This is year 26 for me, but I'm probably the most unknown coach that's done it, and I've had probably the top offenses in Black college football for a while.
Coach, as I look over your resume, Coach, it speaks to a person who actually loves football. When you coach 5 years at Stillman College and then take on the job at Allen College and then also coach for the Odessa Roughnecks, Coach, that's a guy that loves football. And how do you coach through those circumstances without the fanfare and the pats on the backs and the cameras and all the things that we see as fans, right? When we see Ohio State and Nebraska and all those big colleges, you've coached in what I would call obscurity, yet you stuck with it all these years, Coach. What does football mean to you, and how have you been able to stick with it this long?
Well, football to me it's been. I knew I wanted to be a coach since I was in the 7th grade. I was an average football player. I played guard for a little while. Then they moved me to fullback, and I spent more time on the scout team learning how to, coach the game than I did actually playing the game. So I fell in love with the strategic, strategies that went along with it. I watched the off-season workout programs. Shout out to Coach Hugh Fountain. Coach Hugh Fountain was, I wrote him a letter, and he pulled it out of his drawer where I had cussed him out and told him that I was a better football player than he was giving me the opportunity to play. But I really didn't realize I was really slow. I was too short, and I was 145 pounds, and he really was trying to do his best to make me out of a football player. So I really owed him an apology for the work that I'm sure it's a lot of people that owe a lot of coaches apologies, because at one point in time we thought they was messing over our careers or tearing us up. But until you get into that seat and you understand that I love it, I don't need nobody else. I'm my own supporter. I believe in me. I pat myself on the back. I carry the water till it turns to wine. I tell people all the time, you got to stay focused. You see a little, you see a lot. See a lot, see nothing. A lot of times we want to see the big picture. At one point in time in our life, we all wanted a car just to drive. But until we saw a guy pull up in a Phantom next to us, and we wanted that Phantom too. So I tell people all the time, I just always been a guy who just wanted to drive my car that I had. I got a Toyota. I want to drive the Toyota, and I'm gonna keep driving it. And no matter if nobody give me no, the girls won't talk to me. They don't think I'm coaching. What's the name of that team? Now, where's that team that you say you coach? My grandmama asked me all the way up until I died. What team you at now? Or what team you at that can't pay the water bill? Did you get paid this month? It was a lot that went along to it. Some sacrifices was made. Now, I trust me on it. I lost a whole wife. I'm married to a new wife now. It's just a move, and I've been in at least 6 states. What I call slow motion football, and now I'm finally on a stage somewhere that I might have an opportunity that anybody even care about what we're doing. And now I'm getting all the attention in the world because I'm at Clark Atlanta football, and they look at my resume and see what I've done at those small places. I'm just hoping I don't get overwhelmed being at this big place.
Yeah. Man, Coach, man, how, we talk about a lot of things on this show, man. And, we try to spotlight coaches like yourself and stuff. And, I had a talk with LC a couple days ago, and we're talking about the coaching tree. You talk about Nick Saban in his tree, Kirby Smart in his tree. For some reason in HBCUs, we don't stick together. We don't understand the tree. How can you spend more time with a guy for 2 or 3 or 4 years than you do with your own family? And then when you get that opportunity, then we go out and hire a coach that's a different color from us and put those coaches in the money position, the coordinator, the offense coordinator. I don't know how that happened. Maybe you can explain to us or the way you see it that happens, that we don't follow our tree. We don't, and that's why we don't grow. We don't grow as an HBCU football coaching organization.
Well, Coach Cole, to be quite frankly honest, we as a race never stuck together. We don't support each other. You guys here at HBCU Football Corner could have a lot of other people that support what you do, but somebody mad because it ain't them. I got 3 coaches on my staff that are former head coaches. They're old enough to be my father. And I tell people all the time, I don't want people around me that don't add value to me. You understand what I'm saying? They create value. I think we get intimidated or we get scared, or some people just don't understand that people just need to be loyal to. I don't know if you ever watched American Gangster. There was a line in that movie that when they was talking about Frank Lucas and when he had organized one of the largest crime rings coming over with the coffins and stuff, and the white guy in the movie said, "There's never been a black man alive that ever organized nothing to that magnitude," and that stuck with me. And it was a racist comment, but it stuck with me. I said that anytime I get in a position to be able to take care of my people, I'm going to reach back and get the people that helped me get to where I'm going now, and the people that really need the opportunity to do it. So I hire a lot of high school coaches, guys that I was the equipment manager one time in my life. I remember that somebody gave me an opportunity to do this. So the best thing for me to do is always look at the people that I can give an opportunity to, and what they don't know, I teach it. You see it on the big times. They hire their kids, their nephews. They can't even coach their way out of a wet paper bag, but they on the staff because they feel that they can coach them. But that's the way they keep the money within themselves. But we feel, and I know especially me and Johnnie can talk about this all day, because as black men, we don't get the shot to be offensive coordinators, or we look down upon as offensive coordinators. So when you look around the SWAC and other places, you'll see a lot of white offensive coordinators, and we'll support him. Black guy go out there and coordinate and make one bad play call. They ready to do what? Run him away. Oh, he can't coach. We talk about certain things. I'm just saying we got to learn to take care of us. So when I could get a young man, I just promoted a guy that I had a year ago that worked for Coach Cole at a high school, and he ain't coached college football but 1 year. And guess what he is to me now? He's my offensive coordinator, and he's doing a fantastic job at it too. because we have to give these people opportunities to be able to open the door so they can segue into what we're doing. Now, you guys remember at Alcorn, that guy got hired. Willie Simmons was a part of that staff, everybody else. But as soon as he got hired to go up, those people wasn't allowed to go with him. He hired somebody of a whole different, magnitude. I'm just talking about what I'm talking about. See, we don't want to have that difficult conversation about what we do. And then when we get on these platforms, we change who we are. And when people tell you I keep it 100, I'm going to keep it all the way 100. Ain't nobody ever done nothing for me.
Right.
Coach, though you have coached that without the fanfare and all of that, you've actually been at the epicenter of college football, because Stillman College is in none other than Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And so with that being said, with the number of coaches that have rotated through Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and all of the issues that they've had, you've seen guys be elevated, given opportunities after being, labeled this or that. And so with a close-up look at that, Coach.
Well, guys, I mean, we making some strides, but even when rest his soul, Archie Gunslinger Cooley, he was the innovator of the, if you want to call it the spread, you wanted to call it the Nova, he was the innovator. But when you look at his resume, Rocky and Bishop, of course Bishop, the only place he's been is Black College. And here's the man is the innovator of the spread offense. He cannot elevate nowhere else to go anywhere else. And he had to go from one Black college to the next Black college. And at one time, he was out the game. So it takes one to teach one. And I think, and you might get, I would like you, Coach Keaton, when you look at Black college from where you came from in the glasses that you've seen it from, to now, it's to me, it's not nothing exciting to see. We're out, all of us out trying to run the spread. Some of us ain't never played in spread. We're not putting up the numbers that we used to, And I think a lot of that is because you don't have older guys on the staff to teach some of these younger guys, the things about coaching. It ain't just about coaching on the field, it's about running a program in the organization.
I agree with you totally. Some of these guys they only played maybe quarterback, and then they get in and they don't know how to block it up front. They don't know how to move personnels around to go to 11 and 12, 13 personnel. They don't know how to move tight ends. They don't know how to do none of that because they only know what they know. And a lot of times, and let me tell you where I got my first start as an offensive coordinator. I was at Weber International University in Babson Park, Florida. And I was the only Black guy on that staff. And I was the offensive coordinator. Matt Leone, the offensive coordinator for North Carolina Central, was my quarterback coach. Travis Trickett was my GA. We call him Pete. Tony Panazzi, he was the defensive line coach. Now he's the defensive coordinator. He was at Kansas, other places. There's been guys that's been around me that have moved on and got greater points. Weber was ranked 88 out of 99 teams in NAIA football. And in 1 year, we took Weber from ranked 88 to 27th in the country. They hadn't had a winning season since I had gotten there. And we turned around and had back-to-back winning season. The year I go take over at Stillman, they win the Sun Conference. One thing they don't know how to do now is they don't know how to recruit. They let coaches tell. I hated when a high school coach tell me this guy, oh, he a D2 guy. Well, I don't want him. If he a D1 guy, well, how do you know? Do you know what I think this guy will fit for you? How do you know that? You don't know what I do, what I'm looking for, what type of ability. I think a lot of them don't know how to recruit no more. So that's why you see Black college football as naked as it is. Willie Simmons was an excellent recruiter. Prime, he recruited himself. Johnnie Cole, when y'all was coaching, y'all took Tennessee State. Y'all are only coaches living today that win the OVC twice. in a white conference. What that tell you? We don't got another coach that ever did that. Name one. Help me understand that.
Man, you had to go back almost close to 100 years.
That's right. But guess where you sitting at today, Johnny Cole, who's arguably one of the best play callers in the game? You're doing a podcast when you should be coaching for somebody.
Well,
I'm dead serious. I mean, we could just keep it 100. He was one of the best innovators of the West Coast / spread offense. He had a lot of things going. I coached one of his quarterbacks in arena football from Alabama State. And I tell you what, that kid, anybody that know ball game, that's how I knew what his nickname was. If they knew him, they knew LC. You can't get a player to say nothing bad about none of them. And now that I work with them, I never say nothing bad about it. When I hear people slandering their names, well, what about all the coaches? You got a guy, and I'm going to say this, and I know it's probably going to get me in trouble here, but let me say this right here. You got a guy that got fired from Arkansas for doing something real crazy, and now he back at Arkansas, the same place that he got fired from. He back at that spot coaching there. How does that happen? Now, you explain that to me, Johnny, but Johnny can't get a job nowhere.
Well, Arkansas want to win, Coach. Arkansas want to win.
But you know who hurt us? You know who hurt us? Us. It's black people. We hurt each other. We get in our positions at the power, become presidents, and we still talk about some stuff that happened in 1984. You hear me now? That's the stuff I be talking about. We forget about all that crazy stuff that went on. You go hire somebody who, truly in my mind, they brought back a guy who embarrassed them. But you see, we got P. Diddy right now in the situation he in. And if you go on YouTube and you just watch YouTube, you don't see them white folks talking about when Epstein got in trouble. They wasn't talking about that. But the only people that's talking about P. Diddy, T.D. Jakes, and everybody else is us. We trying to get likes on our podcast. We trying to get people to watch our shows because this is what we doing. That we tear our own self down. But we still don't got Epstein list. But we got black folks in line. I swear they got the whole guest list. Who was there? What was going on? Come on now.
Yeah, hey, you preaching now, Coach. And what we doing is we peddle our own trauma.
That's right.
We peddle our own trauma for likes, clicks, and money, and it only hurts us in the long run. To be honest with you.
So now, when you ask that question, why? Yeah, maybe I've been behind the scenes. I don't really need that to make me feel that I need to get. I'm not gonna tear another person down just for a like or a click or get on and disgrade or tell you guys that I'm not gonna come on your show because this, and this. Or I'm gonna filter myself. They label people like me, Kanye, they label us crazy since we gonna tell the truth. And I don't need you on there because you're not gonna play into our games or whatever you want me to play in. I'm gonna coach. LC gonna be with me, and one day maybe my dream job was Alabama State. I'll say it here. I wanted to coach Alabama State one day because I used to go and I got tired of them getting beat by Tuskegee, and I said I'm gonna pull up and I'm gonna show them how to beat Tuskegee.
Hey, this is the head coach of Clark University, Coach. Hey, do we need a break?
We don't need no break. I just need you to stop me when I'm stop telling the truth.
No, we ain't stopping you, Coach. And you said a lot, Coach. Coach Cole always says that for whatever reason, the administration won't allow football in black college football to grow and be all that it can be. Have you faced some of those same obstacles as you've matriculated through your coaching career?
Real talk, because the presidents can't allow the football coach to be bigger than them. On black schools, you don't even know who the president is at most of them because they don't need to be seen. But the most two prominent people on your campus is usually your football coach, your president, and your basketball coach. But when they get too big or they getting too much attention and we're not talking about certain things, they ready for him to go. Or if he get too big for the program, pull up in a car that's a little bit more than theirs. a lot of it fall out. Nobody want to really tell the truth about this, but a lot of this fall out about women.
Well, let me say,
oh my God.
let me say this. You know, and we didn't add this about you, Coach Keaton, and let our audience know. You also as administrator, you've served on several cabinets as well in the president's office. So he just ain't a football coach; he's also administrator. So there's things that he's privy to that some coaches ain't privy to. He knows the thinking of administration. So he's not just talking from the seat of his pants; he's talking from what he knows. And that part that I really admire about you, Coach Keaton, you know, as I say, you also is an administrator as well.
Well,
you don't sound like you. No. You ain't scared, Coach Keaton, and that's what I admire. I admire a courageous man who's willing to say what's on his mind and say what he believes. And for that reason alone, I'm gonna be watching Clark Atlanta real close this year, Coach.
There's no doubt about it. We're gonna turn the clock around, and it's gonna be faster than you think. But there's a lot of nepotism that's in black colleges. A lot of times they hire their cousins, their aunties, and they three workers down the street, and a lot of them can't even do the job that they're hired to do. And one thing I've always admired about white colleges, the PWIs, they know where their resources and their bread come from. There's not 32 million people lining up to see the math tournament. But have you guys ever wondered why we're always getting pushed to be the Tuskegee experience? Now we being pushed to be STEM programs, and people will fund our schools for STEM programs. I've been trying to do a lot of research. Actually, you guys don't know this, but I just finished Harvard for strategic leadership and organization. So I've been trying to do a lot of research on why is black schools being pushed, even our high schools, to become STEM schools, to do this. It almost reminds me of the Tuskegee experiment. What are y'all trying to sell over here at our schools that you're not pushing to nobody else's school? And the only way we can get funded for those schools, what is it? Maybe somebody can add Rob Bishop. Somebody tell me, what's up with the STEM program?
Well, I think it stems now. It comes from us, the data in our schools, that we're struggling with science, math, technology, and engineering. We're lagging in those areas, and our children are lagging. And
that's not true. Our kids know how to get on TikTok. My 3-year-old right now can he know the passcode to everything he got going on in this house, and he can't even go to the potty. So you can't tell me that he don't know what's going on. You got to think now. I think we don't really think about what I'm saying here. There's a reason why Tuskegee just got a $20 million donation, but it want to stay anonymous. But what it was used for was to push the STEM programs. Why?
Well, Coach, I'll play devil's advocate. I'll be the devil's advocate. You say your 3-year-old. Right, your 3-year-old knows how to use TikTok. Well, here's what I'll say from the STEM side. You know, I don't want your 3-year-old to know how to use TikTok. What I want your 3-year-old to do is to create the next TikTok, because that's where So maybe that's where, when you look at, and I had this conversation with some kids I mentored. You're not going to see big steel companies being created anymore. You're not going to see big car companies going to create it. But you will see technology companies that have value that don't have a building in sight. So maybe we do need to get in this game, Coach, because that's where billions are being created. So I do understand we also got to make sure while people are funding us, but we also got to understand where the future does lie. So we do need it, because we don't see, this is a problem. We're on TikTok, everything that you said. TikTok, we didn't create that. Twitter, we didn't create that. So I want us to be creators in these technology spaces. So that does help us with that.
I hope Coach wasn't saying that they're going to be using us for guinea pigs. I hope you didn't say that.
Well,
but Coach, let's get back on football a little bit. Man, you had the spring game, man, and you know, a lot of coaches, you know, use the spring to find players. And you was new, Coach. You just got in there. You got in there late. How would you grade yourself and your staff? And what did you find some players? and where you think you got to go out and find some more players at position?
Well, you got to do what everybody else doing. We got to hit that grad transfer portal, not the transfer portal, the grad transfer portal. You got to find those kids. We got to grow up fast, meaning that there's a lot, especially on defense. I think that's where we were hurting at a little bit more. Offensively, we did well, I think, because of the quarterback. I do have one of the best quarterbacks in HBCU football that's in my pocket. He did a really good job, and I think I inherited about 4 or 5 receivers that were really, really good wide receivers and a running back that could run the ball. But we had to upgrade it to O-line, the D-line, and I think that's where it starts in the trenches. We've got to do that. And I like to tell people all the time, I'm more of a general manager now, and I know how to put the pieces together. We have to find the right pieces at the right time and in the right places. And I think that we're close. I think we're on schedule. But I think that we're all realistic about, let's say this, Clark Atlanta has been terrible for 2 decades. There's been a lot of great coaches that sat in this seat that I'm sitting in now. And we can't say it was all coaching. But you had to work through the nepotism, the different things that's within the organization and how it's structured. And being that I was an administrator who hired vice presidents and been into strategical, strategies that go along with, I transitioned Stillman in 1999 as an assistant coach from NAIA to Division II. When I got to Allen, I did the same thing again. We transitioned from NAIA to Division II. We got to work to make sure that when kids transfer or come to grad school, they are in position that they don't lose 100 hours when they transfer. You got to make sure that the transcripts are evaluated properly, that when you get to the first game, that your 3 quarterbacks are not ready to play because somebody hasn't evaluated their transcripts. Those things don't happen by chance. That happened because maybe somebody don't want the football program to grow. Maybe somebody not behind it the way you think they should be behind it. Maybe it's just a forefront that everybody think that maybe I'm competing with Spelman, Morehouse, and everybody else, and I want to be an academic-based school and not a football-based school. But as I said again, I have a president that I stand behind. I was worked for him at Miles. I saw the vision that he had for Miles, and Miles is still doing well under what he did at Miles. Miles had no championships before he came there. They had 11 in all sports since he, from his time there till he left. Now we came over here. The basketball team was suffering. We flipped the switch in that. They won the SIAC championship this year. The tennis team just got the doubles. They won. They lost to Tuskegee, but they made it to the final. The volleyball team was horrible. Now the volleyball team is thriving. It finished like second or third in the conference this year. And now it's football turn to step up to the plate. I feel like the way he leads us, the way he's a winner. Put it that way. He's a winner. And when you got a president that's a winner and he believes in what he's trying to accomplish, man, you can't help but to work for the guy. I think that President George Prince is an innovator, a game changer, and he's just what the Clark ordered. And I think I'm right on the menu right next to him. And I think they served up a real good recipe to be able to hopefully turn the tides of Clark Atlanta University. I'm not saying this could happen in 1 year. It may take 2 years, but we're talking about a decade, 2 decades, and 1 winning season in 2 decades.
Wow. Well, just to piggyback on the back of that, we always say on this show, winning starts from that office, the president's office. And when you go look back, and I always talk, Keaton, and tell my guys, the last 24 years in our conference, we've had so much turnover for coaches. You had Doug Williams win a national title in 99 and 2000. Then he came back in 2013 and won, 13 and won a championship, and then get fired the next year. Of course, you know about me and LC winning championships and get let go. You had Broadway, who wanted to go back to North Carolina Central and end up going to North Carolina A&T. It's like when you win in HBCUs, it's then you're out. You know what I mean? And you're not out because you want to be out. You out because it's some BS going behind it. And it's always come down to be personal for some reason. You know, it's just sad to say, you know, and that kind of piggybacks off of what you said. If it don't start from the president's office, if the president ain't gonna make a commitment to this program and then be able to understand not only the president but the athletic director that you're a behind the scenes guy. You know what I mean? The guys in front is your basketball coach, is your head football coach, is the guy that's the face of the university. And for
when
some
you think
reason,
about,
you don't get that.
I'm sorry, Johnny. When you think about who we hire in the academic realm, most of those professors, if you really go back and look at them, they've been fired other places. They really didn't cut the cheese at certain institutions, and they get there. Most of them bitter, and they believe it's a war between academics and athletics that they can't coexist at HBCU. There's plenty of money that come in from the games, man. I was at the SWAC championship game this year. I mean, not the SWAC championship, but the national championship game for HBCU football. The Georgia Dome, the celebration bowl. The Georgia Dome was packed from wall to wall. I'm talking about colored folks was in there, and we spend money. I'm talking about we was in there deep. It was a sight to see. I took a picture of it. That's how much it is. Then you turn around, and I'm in a meeting at AFCA, and they said that game is going to be moved to a Wednesday or a Thursday. You think about that now. That game sold only next to, and I want you to, correct me if I'm wrong, Rock and Bishop, because y'all might do your fact checks, but they're number 1, 2. The 2 games that outsold that game was the national championship game and the semifinal game. They outsold every bowl game that was played this year. So why do you think they moving it to Tuesday or Wednesday? Why do you think Deion is already gone when they left him out of Jackson State? Why do you think Willie Simmons and they offered him $500,000 to make sure he get out of FAMU? Why do you think we're being pulled off and we don't get the progress? You didn't see not one game, and I hate to make it about race, but you didn't see one spring game on ESPN this year, did you? Come on now. I need y'all to think. You know why we got to think that way? Because soon as you start building, the next coach that's hot on the market is the guy at Howard. They're going to fool around. If he goes back and he wins it again, he'll be gone. He'll be gone. To be the running back coach, I'd rather be the captain of a garbage truck than the first attendant on a luxury cruise liner. They don't want this to grow. Prime was making this become too prevalent. And now, even they gave him the $5 million. We need to talk about what's going on in Colorado right now. But Prime wasn't raised right to be no head coach and to run an organization of that level, of that magnitude, because he ain't had them opportunities to learn how to recruit, how to organize and not say the wrong things, because you got to dance. You got to be on that little string when they paying you $5 million now. Think about this now.
One thing, Coach, I came in as an HBCU fan with Deion, right? I hadn't been here 30 years or 40 years like a lot of you guys here. I'm just a good old football fan, and I love football, Coach. And the one thing I noticed in HBCU football, there is almost like a ceiling within their own organization. If you get too good, if you get too successful, if you get too popular, somehow they want to separate you from the success that you've achieved. And that's it. You can put Willie Simmons in that situation. You can put Deion in that situation. Johnny Cole. For some reason, they want to separate the success from the football. I'm just talking about football from the institution, and separate that individual who caused that success from the institution. And I don't understand why they don't cultivate, they continue to build pipelines to continue that success. They will hire, okay, give you an example. They'll take a successful coach, right? Like at FAMU, Willie Simmons. They won't automatically hire his successor. the fan base had to almost have a revolt in order to get them to hire the natural successor to an already prestigious program. Like it had to almost be a fan revolt. It happens all the time in other aspects of football. If you have an uber successful program, the guy who has been the second in command is going to get that opportunity hands down. They don't even look outside in their situations like that. And so, Coach, that's another phenomenon that maybe you can explain, or have you experienced that where what do they see when Johnnie Cole moves on, when Willie Simmons moves on, when whoever moves on? Why can't they just say, okay, we already have stable success here. Let's go ahead and elevate this guy and give him an opportunity?
I just tell you, that's $1 million question. I left a successful program at Allen University. There was a guy sitting next to me, 2 guys, that could have easily took on that program and continued the success of Allen University. But they didn't even interview him, didn't even ask him, did he want the job? Not even a conversation piece. I don't have the answer to that, Rock. I just know, what did your mama preach to you when you got in school? What they always told you had to do? Go to school, right?
Go to school,
do
well, make good grades.
Well. Okay, in our world in Black college, they feel that there's a struggle between the academia world, and most of your presidents are academia people who have not played a sport, do not care about the sport. They will put more money into a band. Hear me when I say this. When I was at Allen University, they flew the band to Central State and all the people that the vice president, and we rode the bus for 14 hours. Ain't nowhere in the country that would have ever happened. But at our institutions, the band carries more weight than a football program who could actually open doors. At every institution, when you go in the barbershop, the first thing they talk about, how your football team doing? Yeah. They never asked me about Bishop. What kind of science program do you have? Even at Baylor, they not asking about the science program. They want to know who playing quarterback, do we got a running back, and do we got a defensive tackle? They pack the stage to go see the spring football game so they can figure out who they can talk about over the summer about who gonna play. We ain't talking about no math class. We know it's there, but that ain't what make them money. Let's be real about this. That's what everybody don't want to talk about. They don't want to talk about. But at Black school, if that football coach get to making too much noise and he become too much on podcasts and on TV, and they ain't came and asked the vice president about that new program that they done started, oh, somebody gets a wrinkle in their butt. And then guess what happens? Guess what happens? It's time for him to go.
See, I go back a long way, and what you guys are saying is so true, and that's why again I started this show. And you go back to the 70s, and all those great coaches, they used to stay in place because they were great coaches, and then their coordinators would take over in the 80s, in the 90s. And I remember I was on the bus, and Eddie Robinson said, what's going to hurt HBCUs is when people take over, they don't know nothing about football. And as you go on, we're never replaced by the guy that's been raised. We've always thought that people from the outside could coach or run our universities, and that's the new wave of it all. You know, I mean, I hate to sit and talk about myself. I averaged 38 my second year, 39 points, and then 45 my last year as an offense coordinator. I don't think there's been not one Black coordinator to average them numbers in the last 25 years. You know,
you can put those numbers up against any color. Ain't been no
anybody. Then when you look at L.C. Cole, the only coach that has won the OVC, black coach, he don't get no offer. He got to go to Alabama State. You look at Doug Williams, he don't get no offers. He got to stay at Grambling. Melvin Spears winning championships, he got to stay in there. You know, Rick Comegy go to 4 SWAC championships. He win 1. You know what his next job was? Mississippi Valley State. And they got rid of him after his 4th year. So it's just been a repetition of what Coach Keaton is talking about. What the question that you asked, Rocky, man, that is $1 million question.
You know, Coach,
I didn't like that.
One of the things that as a businessman, and I know that Bishop Campbell has been a businessman for a number of years as well. We look at successful business models, right? We don't try to invent the wheel. We try to look at successful business models and see how those business models perform over time and see what systems or processes we can implement from those business models that can work for us. I don't understand why these very smart men and women who've run these universities for the last 50 years haven't just taken the business model that has worked for University of Alabama, that has worked for Nebraska, that has worked for LSU or whatever, highlight and elevate the football team, the athletic team, and all those other sports and all those other services will be well funded, well represented, and and you have a brand, a successful brand attached to your university, which ultimately, and I can say this because I grew up in Waco, when Baylor was losing, they were a little podunk Division I university off I-35. When Scott Drew started winning, or Brown started winning, Kim Mulkey started winning, you should see the monuments that they have over on that campus right now. And now they showed up when the winning showed up. Now, I don't know how they got there, but I don't think it was a coincidence that all of those facilities, science buildings, marketing buildings, schools of business, all of those, that development that's happening also showed up at the very same time all the winning started happening. And I'm going to ask Bishop Campbell and bring him in. Why don't they replicate, because you're HBCU guys, why I'm asking Bishop Campbell, why don't they replicate those successful business models?
Well, you know, I think Coach hit it right on the head. There's a lot of, this is my turf. I own this. You stay over there. And, you know, it is disappointing. But, Coach, I want to ask you a question because you are at a very prestigious university, Clark Atlanta, a historic university. And I saw where Stanford, one of their recruiting pitches was they would show how much, if you went to Stanford as a football player and graduated, you made $100,000. And then they had another graph that showed if you went to Alabama, you made $60,000. So do you use, because I like what you said, you look for grad transfers. Clark has some amazing grad programs. Do you kind of use that to say, hey, if you come to Clark, we have these amazing grad programs that you can get and be a Clark alumnus and make a lot of money when you finish playing football with me? Do you kind of use that as a recruiting tool a little bit, kind of like Stanford does?
Yes, sir. Let me tell you something. The first week I was on campus, I went to a recruiting fair. And I'm talking about every Fortune 500 company, Google, everybody was there. I watched one of my GAs that was already previously on the staff. He got hired by Caterpillar. He made $100,000, and he gonna say, Coach, well, I'm trying to make a decision whether I want to still coach football because it's my passion. I say, son, if you don't get your behind to Philadelphia and get that money and leave us alone, I mean, it's a pitch because their grad program is phenomenal. It's the Howard of the South. It really has. The kids are leaving there in the way it's set up. The way it's set up, their academics and the way they set this thing up and how they invite these companies in there to see their kids and they get internships, different things of that nature. There, I can't say that between Morehouse, you don't just get to go to Clark's career fairs. You could go over to Morehouse. You can go over to Spelman's career fair. And when I walk the promenade, I can see the difference in them. That's a Clark student, that's a Morehouse student, and that's a Spelman girl. It's just they all got a different variety, but I love them because they're unique. Clark is his own vibe. I use everything I can because Clark is more the party school. They got it going on there. They're having a good time there. Morehouse they party a little bit, but everything about Morehouse is about Morehouse. They believe Morehouse is the brand, and because you went to Morehouse, you're gonna get whatever you're supposed to get. But Clark has a fashion. They have I mean, when I walk a kid down that promenade, it's hard for a kid to tell me no after he didn't seen. I'm just gonna talk about it like I'm talking about it. It's hard if I take him on Wednesday and he walked down that promenade and he see 100 women and he only passed one dude in the last 10 steps that we took, and all of them are pretty, nice looking girls going to college, and he come there and he's a football player. Oh yeah, coach, I'm locked in.
We say you got a recruiting pitch for him, huh, Coach?
Yeah, coach, I just take them to get the chicken, the calf, and let them sit in there and watch them walk around, and then the academic piece itself, the numbers show that they are really, really, and the vibe that we have going right now, I keep telling them, you got to be a vibe. That's why I loved about Coach Cole and them. When you came around them, there was something going to happen. They might have pulled up in a Cadillac or a limousine, or they going to have their suit on. Y'all remember the coach at I can't say Shine, the guy that was at Bethune-Cookman. It was gonna be something that was gonna catch your eye with that. That's the things that we have to do. Sometimes we gotta put it in their face. So we do the TikToks, all the stuff on social media. Coach Cole is very funny in his older age. Boy, I tell you what, we had to convince him because he didn't want no radios at practice. He didn't want none, but that's the kids we coach nowadays. When I go to the University of Alabama and they blasting all that music and they playing and we watching them, if you go to Baylor, that's what the kids do. I said, Coach, you got to do what they do. You got to make them excited about practice. You got to make them feel like they a world that don't communicate like we do. It's music in, the world out. When you try to call your kids, some of y'all got kids that's 16 to 17 years old, they playing the game and they got headphones on and you've been calling their name for 15 minutes. And then you got to go and kick the door in and say, hey, you didn't hear me calling you? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Hey, Coach, real quick, I want you to put your administration head on because we talk about financing and why HBCUs athletic programs. Of course, the state don't fund none of the athletic programs. And of course, they still, the nation still owe each dang black college probably $2 billion. And so we know we underfunded. But Rocky said some, and Bishop Campbell said something how businessmen think. What is the winning business model? And the PWIs, they have beat us to that model by putting money into the athletic program and by making it work. The thing that I always get people to understand is when a season starts, the university gives the athletic program money, all right? And then I know on the 1A level, Division I AA level, then you go play your money games. But what happens is all your money that you play and get, it goes to a general fund. So then next year when you start off, you start back over again. You get so only the university gives you so much money. And I know on the lower programs, your NAIA Division II, sometimes it goes by the enrollment of your football program, bringing in students, baseball. But all monies that you make, it goes to a general fund. I always said that if we play money games, let's take the money game money. If the school wants some, give them some, but then put it in a pot. Put it in a pot. So after a while, the football program especially can get off welfare. They'll have some money so that next year they already had. So now, instead of all the money that they make goes back to the general, it'll go back to athletics. But that's what is my mindset, but that ain't how it works.
When your board is made up of educators that don't do no business, what do you think they're gonna let the money go to? Education. If you look at most big schools, their board are made up of business people, people who are CEOs of companies, people who understand what the business model is. They understand what the marketing strategy is. When you really dissect the board, you can tell where their funding goes, who they have on their board, because the board, a president can't make a decision without the board of trustees. They have to have a chair. And most of the time, your chair is like the senior leader of what they're doing. A lot of schools in our sectors, and in my time in doing this, we don't have enough money to do half of the stuff because our schools are used as fundraisers. The football programs, the bands are used as fundraiser programs, basically. Basically, you are recruiting kids that you're not giving full scholarships to. Basically, for every kid you bring, you might be making the school $50,000, but that $50,000 can't go back into your program because they might be lacking in money that's going in other areas. And a lot of schools, another part of black colleges, they're top heavy. Your VPs, your presidents, everybody that worked there, they got 13 VPs that make $300,000-$400,000. So most of your salaries are coming up at the top. But when you look down in enrollment management, you got a guy down there trying to make enrollment, making $45,000 a year, and he gone from his family 90% of the time, and he out at every recruiting fair, but he can't really attract students there. Then the residence hall, it plays another role. The residence halls at most of the HBCUs have not even been updated or even been rebuilt. They still living like they in 1939. So when I go down to West Georgia and they got the suite style rooms where I got my bathroom over here and I got a living room area with a kitchen and things of that nature there. And you know, the most important thing now that's really killing black colleges is the residence hall, because every parent that want to come to school, what's the first place? Because the English at Baylor, the English at Alabama, the English is everywhere. It's the same doggone English. All right, it's just what it is. But when I go over to Baylor's facilities, they got a print station. They got a place for the kids to conjugate that you go in. We go into our residence hall, they ain't even got a working computer in there. They ain't got nowhere where they can print their papers at. The internet spotty. It don't work there. They got little nice residence hall that stay open at 10 o'clock at night that they can go get a late night snack after studying and different things of that nature there. We don't have those resources, nor do we really be looking to do those things. We're not student-centered. We need the student to go to school there so we can make the money off of them so we can pay the bills. Because I've sat at the table. I've heard it. And I be always getting kicked, the table gets slapped on me because Coach King gonna think about the who. Well, if we fix that dormitory over there, we might could get 7 or 8 more kids to come to school here. But when I come over there and 3 of the shower heads don't work in the community shower that you got me bathing in the hallway, that most of them, you go coach a team now, they won't even take a shower or take their clothes off in front of you. They going in a closet somewhere to put their clothes on to come back into it. They not raised that. Even now you don't have Section 8 homes no more. You got apartment complex that they done turned into things. Now mom and daddy got a bathroom over there. The kids got a bathroom and they got their own rooms. So it's hard for a kid to want to come to school. Then most of the places don't even have visitations at some of the black schools because we think that's taboo. So now when they go over to this school over here, they got visitation to a certain time of the night. The dorms, like I said, it's bad. It's a hard sell. The one thing I love about Clark Atlanta, and I'm gonna tell you what sold me on Clark Atlanta, they got the suites. Wow, they got Berkeley. And then they got this place that they call Section 8. Section 8 is still better than some people dormitories at certain places. And that's what you got to sell these kids on. Where you live means a lot. You ain't going to just live in a shack, right? So a lot of this is why we can't get good football players and a lot of things like that. Then you go into their multi-dollar facilities. They go in and they got a section where they can get a smoothie. They got nuts. They got protein shakes, pre-game workout shakes. They got fruities that they can eat on the way out the door. They got water cooler stations that's stationed everywhere with Gatorade in them. You go to a black college, we got to deal with Coke. But guess who got to deal with the Coke? The athletic department can't even get no coolers. But the student affairs section got all the Coke deals, and they barely won't even send you a Coke down there to put in your office.
So ask me this, Coach. Ask me this. Then how can we put out there how to transform the athletic department without, and when we play these money games, how can somehow the money that we make out for athletics go back to athletics? Is that something that can be done? Of course, I got to do more giving, but you can't.
No,
give.
Nick Saban proved that wrong. Nick Saban proved that wrong. Most of the people that give to the University of Alabama is less than 4% that ever went in the doors of Alabama.
Okay.
Paying for your tickets is just like when you talk about who shows up at the University of Alabama. The rednecks that's down in the woods that want to be Roll Tide and they pay their whole check to go see the Alabama Roll Tide. Those are the people that give. The people that give money are the people who have the money. But the people who are fans that's paying for tickets, we like to talk about how black people don't give. White people ain't giving either. Most of them in student loan debt when they get out of school. Who got money to be able to give back to a school? You paying Fannie Mae and Sallie Mae all the way up until you 60, and you got a 30-year mortgage, and you got 2 kids, you got a couple cars out there. What do you got to give? The church got to get its 10%.
You know, Coach, this is where the business model of PWI football said, we're not going to worry about what school you went to in order to support us.
That's right.
You can be an Alabama fan if you got a GED. You can be a Nebraska fan if you can't spell Nebraska. You can be an Oklahoma fan just because you like Jamel Holloway and Adrian Peterson. You understand what I'm saying? And
correct.
They made those guys college stars. They made the schools regular household brands, and you didn't have to have a connection to the school in order to have that relationship. I said this, I've been asked this 1,000 times when I started supporting black college football. What school you support? What school you go to? I just like football, man. I didn't go to an HBCU. I just like football. And then the fan base will say, you don't get a vote. You don't get to talk noise. You don't get to participate in our banter because you don't have a school. And I think that in and of itself separates HBCU football, black college football, from black people.
Right. What I just say, it goes back to what I said. It ain't them that's killing us. It's us that kill us.
Yeah. Well, Rocky,
about what I'm
man,
talking about,
Rocky, I love you. You just ain't swag.
Hey, put it like
Look
this,
how
man.
much money we spend. Y'all think about this, guys. Think about how much money we spend on everything.
I think it was like $3 trillion last year.
Cause we spend more money than anybody else to spend, but we ain't gonna give it to somebody else, especially if we think it's gonna make another NIGGA rich.
You know, but I will say this, in Coach, I just think HBCU fans, HBCU faithful, HBCU schools have to invite black people to the party because it's one hell of a party once you get here.
It is. Ain't nothing like it in the world.
It's one hell of a party. So if you get invited, if you just reach your arms around all of black people, and you're gonna have some of them ninjas, they gonna come too now, because you can't sift us out. They gonna come too, but they already here. Because I've been to the games before. They already here. But my point in saying that is that we need a Big Ten approach to black college football, to where we embrace not only people who have an affiliation with the schools, but the entire black community, and bring them in under the umbrella and show them what is offered. And through that experience, I think you're going to educate more Black kids. You're going to have more, there's going to be more unity among us. Because I believe the conduit to Black unity is through HBCU, the HBCU experience. Because nowhere does the Black unity exist like among HBCU grads. And I'll just
but Rock, when I say you talk about the HBCU experience, we got to do a better job of putting on a show. We got to do a better job of our living situations. I think that when you go to a Black college game, I've been to many white college games when I, had time and free time to go. If I got a bye week, I'm going to one of the games. Like when you go to Alabama, I'm an Alabama boy, so I go. Let me tell you something. It's an experience. We ain't just talking about watching the game. It's an experience. People spend money for experiences. If I'm going to spend $200 for a ticket, I need to know that I'm going to have an experience there. When you hear the music, they play all our music. They bands now have learned, they hiring Black band directors just so that they can put them guys in the stand and you up there hear them playing. We the only guys, we play songs. They bring Curtis Mayfield or whoever they can get out there just to get it to happen. I'm just talking about what I'm talking about. I see it. And I'm like, man, this
I know a promoter, Al Wash, who promotes the Prairie View Grambling game. He promoted the Space City Classic. And that's what he said. He said, Cole, it ain't about the game. It's about what surrounds the game. You got to, as you say, Coach Key, you got to make it entertaining. And he does a super, super job of that. Matter of fact, I'll have him on my show to talk about stuff like that.
And this is an interesting comment. And Ronald Hunt puts up, when I go to HBCUs, I wonder if I'm Black enough for them when I attend the games. You know what? I don't never wonder if I'm Black enough, but you will often get challenged on your affiliations and what your connection is with HBCU football and HBCU sports. That's not something that happens when I go to Baylor games or University of Texas games or SMU or anybody else. They don't ask me, what year did I graduate from SMU or
but Rocky, what they'll ask you is they say whose father are you? So they won't assume that you went there. They'll ask you who you somebody daddy. See, that's the difference. That is the difference. So see, there is many times the stereotype of if you in the stands, somebody on that field, you must be their daddy or their mama. So don't tell me that, because my cousin played at Auburn, Marcus McNeil, who played for the San Diego Chargers. And his father was educated, his mother was educated. And all they would say to them is, when they would go to those games, who is your son? Not that you went to Auburn. So there is something to that. Let me say this. And Rocky, you have been with FAMU with me. You came to FAMU. FAMU people treated you good. We went down to Alabama State. Those people opened up their arms, treat us well. I think what people see, and Coach has kind of talked about this. I was watching a Colorado broadcast, a podcaster, and those guys were so caught, and this was numbered all black people, and they were so caught up with Colorado, and they couldn't even find Colorado on the map. That's when you see black people get upset, because you would do more for them white folks. I mean, these folks, they had 30,000 people watching this podcast talking about Colorado, where they only got 5% that black people go to that school. And these folks was more worked up.
5% where they live at, Coach.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Less than that. Right. And these were all black people. Man, you would have thought that Jesus Christ had died because Kamani McClain and Edwards got in that portal. And that's what we kind of get offended by. We were like, well, why don't y'all give us this much energy? That's what we kind of get upset about. Give us, like what Coach says, when Coach goes out there and he's at one of the most historic schools at Clark, Atlanta, and you got somebody that will root for Georgia harder than will root for Coach. That's what we get upset about. Why don't you
downgrade you, Bishop?
Thank you. You live in Atlanta, and you will have that Georgia G all on going up there when you can come over. So that's where, Rocky, I think the disconnect happens when we see that. Because what I will say, because like I say, there's not one person can ever tell me if they have ever been to any HBCU game that somebody treated you bad. Because somebody gonna offer you a plate, and somebody gonna say, "Here go a seat." And if you know the right person, here goes some liquor too. So I'm just telling you.
Man, who you with now? Now I must admit, I was with some VIPs when I was at FAMU at Alabama State. So I'm not going to say that may not be typical treatment for just.
Oh man, we treat everybody good. We treat everybody good. We treat everybody good. And the reason why I say that because Coach is in Atlanta. So when Coach is playing on a Saturday during the day, instead of you watching Georgia play or Georgia Tech, how about you come support? Because like the coach said, the way we make money is you actually pay for a ticket. So, Coach, I'm going to big up people saying to come out on a Saturday and see all them pretty girls and pretty women. The alumni pretty too now. You know what I'm saying? The alumni pretty too. And get the experience that, Coach, that you're offering for Clark Atlanta. That's what I really want to see. I want people to adopt your team. If you're in Atlanta, adopt Coach's team. Not adopt Georgia. Not adopt Georgia Tech. Not adopt Alabama. Adopt Clark Atlanta.
I always tell people, man, people give money to people. They don't give money to buildings. So as you say, Rocky and Coach Keaton, as you say, man, you just got to get out there and meet people and hire the right people. You got a hard guy that comes in the room and lightens the room up. You know what I mean? Whether it's the president, the AD, or the head football coach or basketball coach. You got to hire those guys who's not shy from the camera, and that's one of the biggest things.
Well, I'm excited about Clark Atlanta football. I'm going to tell you that now. I love everything about Clark. I'm trying my best to make it be what it need to be. And before you know it, the world going to know that Clark can play football here because I got the right people around me that's going to push me every day, that's going to push the kids every day because we have a point to prove. I love these type of jobs because you can't sleep on these type of jobs. It's when you make it. It's when you start getting lazy after you win that first championship. It's got to mean something to you. This is a legacy. This is something that I wish that I can turn around and I make it what it need to be. I'm treating this like an internship. I'm up every morning bright and early, and Coach Cole sent out a text early in the morning. I don't think he sleeps, but at 5 o'clock it says it's time to go to work, gentlemen. And I love it. And if I don't get that text at 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm gonna text him like, did he pass or something? What's going on? Like, what's wrong? Why you ain't texting us this morning?
And you know what? You guys completely messed up our breakfast plans when Coach Cole came to visit y'all. Y'all had him on the field at 6 in the morning.
Let me tell you something. I miss my idol. I tell him I miss Coach Cole. I did not get to take a picture. I got a picture with everybody that I love, and I got a picture with him, and I got to take one with Johnnie Cole so I can have it and put it in my, what's going on there. I try to find all of them. When I met Joe Taylor and those guys, man, I had to take a picture. I mean, I'm at the middle of FCA, and I see Joe Taylor, and you'd have thought I had saw Nick Saban. I was like, hey, I got to see my man. Y'all let me have it. Those are the way that people, when you look at it, that's the stuff I like. I idolize these people. Ms. Griffin, yes, I coached at Stillman, Allen, and now Clark Atlanta. Those were the places that I was the head coach at.
Keith, she said you did it. You was on point.
That's right. She right. I did it. I'm going to do it here. I'm going to do it here, and I'm telling you that now. You're going to speak it. There's power in your words, and we make sure we tell our kids that we got to believe it first before it ever happen. And I tell them, just keep carrying the water till it turn to wine. Every day ain't going to be a pretty day, but the slogan here this year is outwork yesterday. So every time we look up, we're going to outwork yesterday.
Yeah. Well, we working on our calendar, Coach. And, of course, when you play Central State, I had 3 brothers that played for Central State, and another 2 went to the school, and that's kind of been on my target to make it there. Hopefully, me and the guys, we can come there and do our show from Clark Atlanta. When you play Central State, you don't have that date on you. This right off.
We play Central State in Central State this year. Unfortunately, I'm sorry.
Oh, y'all
we got to go to Central State.
Oh, no wonder they've been telling me about the game. I thought it was in Atlanta.
No. But y'all can't come to Atlanta. You're welcome anytime. I will set it up. I will have you where you need to be. And we're going to give you the sweet black college treatment. We're going to have a plate for you. We're going to get the band to come in with you. I'm telling you now, the one thing I like about it now, I got a buzz going on here. I got a buzz going on around here. They loving it. They're going to follow. Like I told them, it ain't going to be easy. It's going to look ugly before it get good.
Yeah,
but you heard it here on y'all church, on y'all show, and we live. We going to do it now.
Let me give a shout out to Moses. Coach, bring that back up. Coach Moses, he is the new head coach at Lincoln University. So Keaton, y'all need to talk. You know, maybe y'all can get some type of game going there. But Coach Moses, thank you, for reaching out. He's the new head coach at Lincoln University. You will be one of our guests here, and I appreciate you. So I wanted to give him a shout out real quick. And he looking forward to trying to turn the program.
Will I give Tuskegee a contest this year? We take it one game at a time. My first game is Fort Valley. That's what I'm focusing in on. When I get to Tuskegee, when they get there, we'll be there. We're going to show up.
Coach, boy, they got you jumping out with Fort Valley open the season.
I open the door with Fort Valley. And let me tell you something. What a great coach they have, man. He is a great mind at football, and I really like what he does. I like how you can see he has you mentioned the coach. I can't think of his name.
He almost had a big payday, Coach. He almost got a big payday.
He almost got it, but let me say this now. Now, the guy's an excellent football coach. I know it's some FAMU people on here, but they would have got a good football coach because he brings it. He's very strategic in what he does. He was taught by some really good people, and for him to just been a running back and not have been a coordinator, I was really impressed because he gave us fits in a lot of things that he did. And to have to start my career coming from here to going to here, going over to Clark Atlanta, and I got to open the gate with it. I was like, Coach, I tell Coach Cole every day now, we got the Valley coming now, and they coming now, so we got to make sure that we ready for him. And we almost beat him down there. And guys, he is boy.
Don't mention it to Coach Campbell because Mr. Campbell, because it brings up bad memories. He almost was a rattler, and
and Campbell almost had a heart attack.
Hey, Coach, listen, I'm gonna say that he's where he needs to be at. You know what I mean? That's he's coaching the right program, Coach. That's all we gonna say. That's all the rattlers gonna say. He coaches the right program.
Hey, Coach Key, boy, if you was a part of the Florida and him making that head coaching choice, boy, that cat there was leading the flag. You're like, no, man, we need to get that job to the people that's there. We don't need
I can't disagree with him. I gotta, but let me say this here. The choice that you guys had picked, he's not a bad football coach. He's just a very unknown football coach. And maybe he made some piss poor decisions over his lifetime and doing some things differently, that he probably, when we're young, we do things that we shouldn't do. But as a coach, as an X and O strategy, as a recruiter, and bringing in the type of players that he's brought into Fort Valley. And it's interesting to see what he got now because he keep everything close to his chest. But let me tell you something. He's a good strategist. And it's old school football. He's old school football, and he plays it well.
Coach, it's one of those situations that where he may have been the right guy in the wrong situation. It had nothing to do with him. Why he wasn't selected. It had everything to do with who selected him. And that was the issue in and of itself, Coach. And I hope the coach of Fort Valley has a lot of success other than when he plays Clark Atlanta this upcoming year. And we're gonna leave it right there because, like I say, the guy was, he had a very successful program. He had a winning record. He just wasn't who FAMU wanted.
And they have a right to that choice. And I'm just saying, speaking for Sean Gibbs, he is a good football coach. And I've played him on numerous occasions. And I've watched him. I am over the Head Coaches Association of the SIAC, and I'm a part of the D2 Connect. And I think he's done a tremendous job with Fort Valley. I think he strategizes perfectly for Fort Valley. All right, WMS, we know you good. Rocky, let's move on before I get beat up.
Hey, Keith, they be on. And look, they be on. You know, we bring coaches on here. We don't just be talking to them. We get facts. You know, we get
That's
facts.
right.
Well,
Let's
like
move
I said, I didn't. If Coach Gibbs or Coach Gibbs' mama's watching, or Coach Gibbs' wife's watching, I didn't want them to get the idea that we had anything against, or the fan base had anything against Coach Gibbs. It wasn't against Coach Gibbs, not at all. And I'm glad that you came on here and mentioned that he's a quality coach. He just was selected by the wrong person. That's it.
Hey,
I think
Coach T, I'm putting you on the spot. Hey, look, I'm looking for my plane ticket to the football camp, the clinic. Something you always throwing something to raise some money.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you now, I'm gonna bring you down, and you're gonna do some clinicking with us. See, I haven't had a chance to get that one-on-one Johnnie Cole football because, like I tell people all the time, I know how to undress myself, and I know how to pay respect to people who've done it. And when you talk about a guy who's done it at a high level, and like I say, most people won't give y'all flowers, but in black college football, you guys need a statue. The Cole brothers, Pete Richardson. There's a lot of guys that's done really well in this game, and they never got the opportunity to move on. I think, I'll give another guy his flowers that I really felt that was a really good ball coach that finally got a chance after 35, years of trying to get a football job, Coach Berry. Coach Berry is a tremendous offensive mind. How he lines it up, the games he plays with what he does, man, he'll make you. He will make you work to beat him. And I seen it firsthand. So I thought South Carolina State made a real good hire. And and I'm one of them people that's not gonna just talk about myself. I know I'm good, and I believe that I'm good. It's for somebody else, and I don't have a job to give nobody. I'm not the president to hire nobody. But at the end of the day, when I see people that are good and that do a good job, hey, you got to get them their flowers. You watch how their program is ran, how they organize it, and then you watch these guys get hired. Or what Rocky and Bishop was talking about earlier. Like, dude, y'all, that's the best y'all can find? Like, there's other guys as coordinators that's really good at what they do. And you mean to tell me, but it's somehow the PWIs, they don't miss. They took them 72 hours. Hell, I want to say 48 to replace the guy at Alabama. Why does it take us 16 months to pick the wrong guy?
Hey, Coach, let me ask you a question, and you and Coach Cole can expound on this. Coach Cole always says only 25% of actual coaches are actual winners. Do you agree with that?
I agree. I might even go less than that. Because it starts with a mindset. It starts with a mindset. The right thing, like he said, the personality. It takes a personality to go in a room and change people. You got to get people to buy into what you believe. I might be the best X's and O's coach in America, but if I can't motivate the kids and get them to want to come play for me, and then you add this NIL deal and this bag money nowadays, you ain't recruiting a kid now. I'm talking about even at our level. The first thing they want to know is, well, can I get an NIL deal, coach? Or what? We got any alumni with some deals, a car deal, can hook me up with an apartment. I mean, it's becoming hell.
I had some discussions with some recruiting coaches, some recruiting coordinators in a Power 5 conference. And he said, Rock, man, it's crazy. He says, right after, hello, my name is Coach So-and-so, and the kid introduces his name, and the next question is, how much? And I say, well, what do you guys say? Because you guys can't offer any money or anything. He says, we have to get through that question, though. We have to address it. He says, because the kid will say, LSU, Oklahoma, University of Texas has this on the table.
And I'm telling you, it's rough now. I just had a kid that we flew in. I won't call his name, but he played it. He was a starter at Arizona State. I hosted him for the weekend, and after all the nice talking and conversations, he didn't say much. But what he asked me was, "Do you got any NIL opportunities around here?" I said, "Son, are you looking for a football program to play for, or are you looking for how much you can get paid to play?" And I'm gonna tell you what his exact words was. He said, "I'm looking for both." So how can you compete with that? So you talking about black colleges trying to compete? It's going to be rough for us to get players because that's why all our kids at the lower level are jumping. I mean, when I coached it out and I had
Hey,
5
Coach Keith.
players. Yeah,
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go finish, please.
I had 5 players from Allen University to leave, and they're all playing some form of 1AA or Division I football. Now that's big now.
Let me say this, guys, to you guys. And a guy like Coach Key, a guy like LC Cole, can get at an Alabama State, a Jackson State, a Grambling, and build an NIL. I'll put my paycheck on that. It's going to have to be the white HBCU coach to be able to get out there and hit them. Because see, when LC was at Tennessee State, LC had a Cadillac. He got a Cadillac every 6 weeks, Rocky. You know what I mean? We had places there we ate at free every day. It's the same principle. But you got to get out and sell your program. Now, Walmart, if they give money to Alabama, they'll give money to Alabama State. You know what I mean? It might not be at that level, but it's the right black coaches to be able to come in there and sell the program. We was at Alabama State. Tell me where Alabama State was shy at. Stadium, fan base, only show in town. You know what I mean, Kevin?
Well, Johnny Cole.
Kevin, you can come in there and go around and say, man, we need some NIL money.
Johnny Cole, I just met.
Five for you. But I bet you could do it, Teddy Key.
Yes, sir. Because I just met with a lady that I had in my office who gonna orchestrate and help me formulate NIL deals. And she's gonna come and she's gonna do it like she worked for Coach Saban. She ran track at LSU. She worked for Coach Saban for a while at LSU. And she came over to meet with our business students about the whole structure of NIL deals. And with a place like Clark Atlanta, and this is where I'm gonna practice it at right now, I'm gonna figure out a way to get in with a brand that's as strong as Clark. When you in Atlanta, Georgia, and you standing next to millionaires and you don't even know they millionaires, some of them 26, and then you don't know where they got their money from. Some of them are just looking for an opportunity to find somebody to do business with. If you got people around you that can help you do those things, we're going to try to figure out how to do it, because the only way you're going to get good is you got to find a way to be able to compete. Even if it's a small piece of that pie, you're going to have to find a way to compete at this level for those schools who have maybe alumni or, you know, those places like Tuskegee who are in small towns who have a Peachtree Ford dealership down the street down there that they're willing to do business with their local football team. You got the Kentucky Fried Chicken that's willing to. I coached arena football. So we had to go out and find these deals for our kids. We had to feed them. We had to find places for them to live. And we had to sell dasher boards. We had to sell all this stuff here. So a lot of my marketing skills that came from arena football are now got to come into play to help me find things that maybe I can get them 2, 3 free meals of pieces of chicken at nighttime that they can eat when they go back to their dormitory room. Or maybe I can find them somebody that'll say, we'll let you lease this car as long as you don't take it over 30,000 miles, and this kid can get a car lease dealership with his name on it. All we ask is that he come in front of the dealership every 4 or 5 days and maybe take a picture with people who come in to buy a car. Say we can't do that at Clark. We can. But if it was on a bigger scale, we just got to be more, we got to get off our seats and do it now.
Well, here's the thing, and the reason why I know, you know, being in a school sitting in Houston, Texas, Atlanta is a market, and it's a market for black folks, and it's a market for the black folks will give money if you go out and you know how to ask for it, you know, and that's why I never thought why Texas Southern has never got off the ground with their athletic program. It just ain't right. It ain't the right leadership. You know, you got to be able to have those people that can go knock them walls down. You know, to know how to go in the room and be a bright light in the room.
To compete with Baylor, Rocky, but I will be able to compete with the people that's at my level, and that's all I'm trying to do. I'm trying to stay in my lane. Baylor's not. We're not in the same league. Don't shoot at the same basket. Don't pay the same taxes. The whole nine. But they got kids that graduate, and they're looking for 1 year to play or 2 years to play. And all you got to do is have a little something for them, maybe an apartment deal that say that I can stay off campus. Well, we'll give you 4 apartments for this amount. That's all it is trade and border. Say we'll give you this many season tickets. We'll make sure you got all on our press releases when we do. This brings up a Wingstop first down. You know, that's all they need is that little bit of marketing. All of us got jumbotrons and we put it up there. Those are the things that we got to go sell. PA announcements. Every time I go to a big kind football game, there's 100 PA announcements before we ever get to the let's introduce the starting lineup. Well, I done heard this time out is brought to you by Bush. Whatever it is, we're drinking Bush today. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. We got to find a way to sell that.
Hey, they bring on those PWI big games. They bring so many people on the field, introducing them to the crowd. This is so-and-so at your Kia Ford dealer, or you know what I mean?
That's right.
Ain't got nothing to do with football or nothing. Just bring them on the field, man. But, Coach, this has been an amazing interview. You've been on with us for an hour and 45 minutes, man, and I want to thank you for your time. I want to give Bishop Campbell some time to ask your last question. And, of course, I'd like Coach Cole to give you formal salutations as we allow you to get off here and go home. I'm sure you got some work to do, Coach. Maybe not time of night. But,
well, Coach, I don't have any questions, but I do. As they say, we're in this age. So why don't you just tell people about your program, how they can follow the Clark football, on social media handles and things like that. Why don't you tell us that?
Well, you can follow us on Twitter at Clark Football. You can follow us on Facebook with Clark Football. It's wide open, man. We're on Twitter, Instagram, wherever you want to find. Just find Clark Football, and we there not with an E, just with a K. So make sure you follow the right Clark Football, because there's another Division II school called Clark College, but we Clark University, Clark Atlanta University. And I thank you on the behalf of our president, George French, our athletic director, Dr. Jarrell Drew. We are here to change the culture. Outworked yesterday, and thank you guys for having me and giving me an opportunity to be able to share this space with you guys.
Appreciate you, Coach, man. As I say, I'm excited about the football program, and anywhere you go, you've always won. I look for you to do the same thing. Hey, I didn't pay you for saying those things about me. I appreciate that. All I've ever tried to do is to do my best, and always, I believe in each one, teach one, each one, bring one. So I appreciate you coming on the show. Of course, we're going to be back at you during the season. I look forward to seeing you this summer at the clinic or the camp. And good luck the rest of the year.
Thank you, guys, man, and God bless you. Good luck to all the schools you follow, Rob and Bishop. I'm sure you work with the Fort Valley Wildcats, but I'm coming.
Coach, Coach, you had to get out here with a joke. So, Coach, what I will say is, if you ever have an off week and you need to come down to Tallahassee, Florida to see the HBCU National Championship, let me know. We got to take care of.
I really would want to come down and spend some time with them, so I appreciate that.
All right.
Thank you. Y'all have a blessed night.
Yeah, you too.
All right, man. Hey, that was a great interview, man. And then we ran a little long, but we got to pick up this NIL conversation. Maybe we'll do it next week sometime and talk about it a little more, because there's a lot of misinformation out there regarding NIL. But hey, we've been on long enough, guys, and I just want you to take us out, Coach Cole.
Man, well, what I'll do too is I'll search some people that's actually in it, and maybe y'all can find 1, 2, or 3, that we can actually bring on that really is getting involved with it and learning the ins and outs of it. So to make sure we have the facts and get our people. Hey, guys, subscribe to our channel. I heard you earlier saying that you got to subscribe to our channel. If you want to put our show on the road, is it a somewhere they could send money to.
Yeah, they can super chat and they can become a member of our show, man. They can become a membership. It's just $1.99 a month. All proceeds go toward us actually going out, doing shows on the road, and just providing you with much better content as the season rolls around. So those memberships are very important. Just go ahead and select membership. It'll be automatically billed to you every month. That's $1.99 a month to become a member.
And you can get the membership go to YouTube.
Yes.
HBCU.
Yeah.
Coach's Corner.
Yeah, just go to the channel. Rocky. Yeah, just go to the channel. Just go to the Rocky Miller channel where the HBCU Coach's Corner is streamed. Hit membership. Boom, you got it. You're a member. And like I said, we're just trying to bring you the best HBCU content possible.
All right, thank you. As always, man, inflation is high, and groceries are high, gas is high. Man, don't panic. Everything will turn over after this new president's election. Things will get back in perspective, believe me. But make sure you go out and vote for the person who you think can lead this country. If you're having a hard time and you feel yourself or losing yourself, tie a knot, hold on tight, because ain't nobody bad like you.